Show up to shine with the ultimate show-ups, Danielle and Jackie. How showing up together has been our recipe for success. Not dwelling in failure, but embracing the fails, learning to move forward, never taking it personally, and always keeping the fun. Join us as we share our stories, our quirks, our many failures, and how we turn that into inspiration for something bigger and better every time. Welcome back to episode 2 of Show Up to Shine's second season. It's Jackie here, and today the guest that we have on is Donna Cross. Donna Cross was someone that had gone through quite a pretty challenging stage in life. She had been afflicted with major depression, generalized anxiety disorder, and compulsive emotional overeating disorder since the age of 3. At her highest recorded weight was 339 pounds. In 2018, she was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and had a blood glucose reading of 510, which is quite high, and an HbA1c of 12.3, which is close to a coma. She decided that she felt that the diabetes was an unwelcome visitor in her life, and she decided to fight back. With the help of a diabetic counselor, she removed all grain-based carbohydrates, processed sugars, and started to move her body by walking 7 days a week for at least 30 minutes. She did this by having DVDs in her house or walking outside, and in 11 months, she was considered reversed. She was removed from all of her medications, including the ones for her mental health. And she got her HbA1c to 5, which it still sits there, which is phenomenal, and has lost 192 pounds with no bariatric surgery. She is really, really, really inspiring, and she talks to us about how she started in this journey, what had happened, and where she is now, and what she does to stay healthy. So, I hope you all enjoy this episode of Show Up to Shine with our guest, Donna Cross. Donna, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast of Show Up to Shine. As you know, showing up to shine is different for everyone. Your story represents a perspective of bucking conventional beliefs of what people think should be the prescription for health and how to follow diagnosis. And sometimes people can fall into a trap of, if you've been diagnosed with something or you've been said to be something, you now own that and it becomes a part of who you are and you feel like you are imprisoned to this diagnosis. And I just can't wait to get into the details of who you are, some of the challenges that you've been through in your life, and now where you are. So can you tell our listeners a little bit more specific details from a health perspective, mental and physical? What's your journey look like in your life?
So thank you for having me. I guess you'd really want to go back to around the age of 3 years old. At around the age of 3, and this had been found out through therapy over the years. Since around the age of 3 years old, I had major depression, generalized anxiety disorder, and compulsive emotional overeating disorder. More than likely stemming from childhood was very dysfunctional. My father left when I was 1, so it was just my mom and me. I had older siblings, but they had pretty much flown the coop. So we kind of lived for the first 10 years of my life pretty much in poverty until my mother remarried to a very abusive man who was abusive physically and mentally and emotionally towards me, towards my mom. So that was kind of what I started out with. Had the eating disorder was the worst, well, for me, and it compounded everything else during my lifetime, growing up, bullying incessantly. My weight fluctuated greatly. I didn't really have bulimia, but I basically starved and binged. That was basically my thing. My highest weight recorded, it could have been higher, but my recorded highest weight was at 339 pounds. I have in my family type 1 and type 2 diabetes. so I did have all the major light flashing lights, what to look for. I did have gestational diabetes with both pregnancies, and about a year prior to my diagnosis, which was April 4th, 2018, about a year prior, I started getting all the symptoms, but I denied them. So the symptoms were the classics. I had blurred vision in my left eye, tingling and numbness in the toes, incontinence, thirst. But I denied them all. Even though deep down I knew I was in trouble, I denied them, kept on with the eating disorder and the binging. And then I was diagnosed in 2018.
So up until this time in your life in 2018, so now we're recording this in the beginning of 2022. So up until this point, you've been diagnosed with depression, with anxiety, with diabetes at this point. Were you diagnosed with type 1 and type 2?
No, just type 2.
And type 2. Just to also give some more context for the listeners.
Yep.
So we are obviously looking at each other, and I know that our listeners won't be. I think it's important to say, spoiler alert, Donna no longer is 339 pounds, which is a part of the fun of the story, I think, truly. And I say fun because it is inspiring and motivating. And the first time I met you was actually through Instagram, our Instagram community. I remember going through some of your posts and then, of course, talking to you in our first phone call together. And you were telling me about intensity of your diagnosis. I mean, you talked about your blood glucose reading of 510, which is insanely high. You talked about all of the symptoms that you just described, like, the loss of the feeling and the incontinence and the thirst and all these really scary things, because so all of these things carry a lot of fear and a lot of weight with them. So can you talk to us a little bit about, in April of 2018, when you were finally diagnosed officially with this? Walk us through what was going on in your mind. Where were you mentally?
Sure. Well, that morning, I felt sick. I had noticed blood in my urine a couple days before. And I was like, gee, I think I have a bladder infection or something happening here. And I didn't feel well that morning. Went to work, felt worse and worse and worse. It was around lunchtime. I was a paraprofessional at the time. I was taking care of a child and I had to get another paraprofessional to look after her. And I said, I have to use the bathroom. There's something going on here. I went and I started bleeding from the rectum. So there's your fear. I was scared. I'm like, okay, well, I'm in trouble. So I went to the nearest convenient MD and I thought, well, I think I got a bladder infection happening and maybe it's spreading or something. So, and that's what they thought too at first. They're like, yeah, that's what we think. So let's get some your urine test and see what's going on. See if there's bacteria in it. Well, lo and behold, they came back and they said, you're actually dumping sugar right now in your urine, which is bad. I mean, at that point, there's no other place for this sugar to go but urine. So,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, and once they said that, I knew I'm dead. I'm done. I got my diabetes. I got it. And so they said, well, let's check your sugar. And I'm like, here we go. And they checked and it was 510. And they said, well, you're close to coma. So we got to get you to the emergency room right now. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to die today.
My gosh.
Coma, call your husband. He's got to bring you because you're not going to drive. I'm ready for a stroke at that point. So I got to the emergency room. They started putting all types of nodes all over me. I'm sitting here. I'm like, Lord, what's going on? And then they started to pump fluids in me. So this is the test of type 1 or type 2. They start pumping fluids, lots of water. If your glucose levels go down, that means your pancreas is still creating insulin, hence your type 2. If the fluids go in and the sugars are not going down, that means your pancreas is dead and you have type 1. So that's it went down to the 200s. So they said, okay, you got type 2, which is literally better than type 1. I mean, let's just face it. Type 1 is an autoimmune disease. So I said, okay, so your heart is good, your kidneys are good, your lungs are good, everything's good. You're all right. You got type 2. I'm going to give you some medicine. You're going to go see your doctor tomorrow. Good luck. Goodbye. Okay.
Wow. So you were sent home.
I was sent home. So I was very upset that whole night. Went to the doctor the next day. He went over my chart and he says, "Yep, you have type 2 diabetes." I'm like, "Really? Okay, I got it. Thanks."
I found that out yesterday. Yeah.
I actually swore it. I'm like, but I'm not going to swear here. So, unless I can.
Right.
But
we'll fill in the blank. Don't worry.
Okay. But anyways, he said, "Well, we're going to get you into a nutritionist. We're going to get this weight off. We're going to do it." And the last words he said to me were, "Your goal and my goal is to get you off this medication and to get your weight down, and you're going to get reversed." Now, I never thought a doctor would say that to me.
Yeah.
I thought I was done. I thought I was going to have to take all types of medicines, insulin or whatever for the rest of my life. I never for the life of me would think that my doctor would say, "No, that's not the goal. The goal is to get you off and to get you reversed."
That's amazing.
Well, that gave me hope. Yeah.
Yes.
That
What kind
gave
of
me
doctor
hope.
was this? Was this a functional medicine doctor?
General practitioner.
Wow. Thank the
PCP.
heavens for that. That's not typical
Yeah.
to hear. Generally, you don't hear that.
No, you don't. And it gave me hope.
Yeah.
So I went home and I was very emotional, and my kids were there and my husband, and I was looking at him and I said, "I don't want this. I do not want this in my life. I have 2 young children I have to take care of. I have a husband to take care of. I'm young still. I don't want to die. My grandfather lost his legs. I don't want to lose my legs. I had an aunt, my mother's sister, who died at 9 from type 1
Oh, wow.
and osteomyelitis. And, way back then, there was no insulin at the time. So once you have it, your life expectancy is not good. So, but that was way in the 20s and 30s, but I still remembered it. And I'm like, I don't want to die. I don't want to lose my limbs. I don't want to go blind. So I'm fighting this. It's unwelcome. With the help of a nutritionist, I started to eat to my meter.
What does that mean?
Eating to your meter means basically after 2 hours per meal, you track how your blood sugar goes. And that's really the only way for you to decide what your body does. Every diabetic is different. In my case, what I found through a few weeks worth of eating to my meter, that my body took grains and it was very toxic. Grains were toxic to my body. It would skyrocket. Vegetables would not, dairy would not, meat would not, nothing bothered it. Grains. So my body was very toxic. They were very toxic. So I said, I'm not even going to be like portion a grain. I'm just going to get rid of it. Do I need it? Do I need bread? No. Do I need pasta? No, I don't. So I got rid of it. Gone. The minute I removed grain from my body, the weight literally melted away. I also, on top of all that, made sure that I did not eat processed foods, like with sugars, your granola bars and all the candy and all that stuff. That
right.
was a no-brainer, but it was really the grain for me that my body was toxic with. And once I got rid of it, it melted. My A1C dropped. My highest A1C was 12.3, and a non-diabetic should be 5.7 or lower. It was sky high, started to drop significantly. And in 11 months, I was off all meds.
Wow.
Including, because I was still on medication for anxiety and depression. They were gone too.
Wow. So we've got to uncover some of this because, there's so much in what you're saying. So up until this point, you talked a lot about having an eating disorder, a binging. Did you purge at all? Was there purging as well, or just binging?
No, just binging and starving.
Oh, okay.
Starving.
So knowing that you now had this really scary, close to death experience, I would say, because it puts the same probably level of fear in you going through what you went through that day when you were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. But can you talk to us a little bit about what happened with your eating patterns? Because that's habitual and that's very much tied to your emotions, right? So was this nutritionist helping manage through this? Was this still an issue with the binging and the starving? How did that all work out?
No, because once I really spoke to this nutritionist, now I've spoken here and there in my life with therapists regarding eating disorders here and there, but I was not in the mindset yet to change. You really have to be in this mindset that you're going to change. And I wasn't there. But now that I'm sick and now I'm about to die, now I got to change my ways, because it's at like what they call the pain pivot point, where it's intolerable. You get to the point where you can't go any longer and any further. Well, that's where I was at.
Yeah.
This nutritionist was very kind and listened to me. And because you have to eat to your meter, there's a structure now. There's a structure to my eating. Whereas before there was no structure. I just ate, just ate.
Right.
Ate for any reason other than hunger. I ate for happiness, sadness, pleasure. There was no hunger. Now there's a structure. Okay, you have to eat, and then 2 hours later you have to check. Okay. And then if it's high, okay, what do you do then? Well, you got to go for a walk. And then if you go for a walk, then you got to drink some water, and then it'll come down. Okay. But next time, what will be better? Well, I'll eat less of this or different. So it was things like that. We didn't really talk too much about the disorder so much as the structure.
Yeah. Okay.
And once I had the structure down, and once I got rid of the grain, and once I saw that there was actual change and that I wasn't hungry, or wishing I was eating, it all disappeared.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Disappeared.
So you got structure from the plan. It sounds like you learned more about your body, how your body was reacting to the actual food you were putting in it, which is so interesting, because for anyone that's been on diets before, diets can feel like this nebulous sort of thing where there's always a fad diet and you're trying to lose some weight, whatever that means for you. Yeah. But I've found, at least for myself, so for those that don't know, I've had probably every eating disorder that you could have. And I say that with a laugh because, hey, it's helped me in a lot of ways, because I can empathize with exactly what you're talking about: overeating, emotional eating. I can also understand, the starvation side of things, overexercising, bulimia. Unfortunately, all of these played into a role for me that was more about trying to learn my body and control my body. So to hear you talk about understanding the structure around eating and what this actually fed into, the grains caused a spike and that made me feel X, Y, and Z. So removing that helped, whatever that was. That's just really interesting to me, because I think that a lot of times people, if they had a healthier input and feeling like exactly what you're talking about, having that control and that structure, you all of a sudden don't have these swings in your hunger and swings in your cravings. And maybe emotion isn't as tied to it because you have a different purpose now when you're eating. Your purpose is to try to heal yourself in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. It's the way that I looked at food now. So now I'm looking at food like it's fuel and nourishment to heal my body, as opposed to being a friend, companion, everything that it isn't.
Right.
It's not. And so, you have to, I looked at it in a different way. And then having that relief that, I have this disorder, but it's not all my fault. I'm not going to take the blame. I didn't know that grains were toxic to my body. I didn't know that. So it kind of gave me a little bit of relief, like, okay, all right, now I'm off the hook a little. That helps. But now I really have to make sure I work at it. And also, let's face it, the motivation is fear, and I don't want to die.
Right.
That keeps you going. It isn't just making sure that you can get into a dress at a wedding in 10 months.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
This is life. This is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
It used to be for me, the starving part was things like, I lived out of state. And if I knew that if I did not lose this weight by the time I got to see my mother at Christmas, she would be looking me up and down and criticizing me, because she was really one of my first bullies. So that's another unhealthy reason to lose weight, things on that idea.
Yeah. So as you started to modify your activity levels and the kind and quality of food that you were putting in your body, you mentioned that you were able to get off the medication. Were you able to get off of the medication for some of your anxiety and some other things that, or maybe you weren't on medication for that? Maybe I'm making a leap there. Was it just the medication for the diabetes that you were on at the time that you were off of?
When I first got diagnosed, I was on medication for anxiety, but
Okay.
the side effect of that medication was high blood glucose. So I was removed from that
Oh,
immediately.
okay.
But I was still on medication for depression, which I had been on since 1996.
Wow.
So this was a long time. And
Yes.
so that, and then the medication for the diabetes, I was removed.
So,
When I was diagnosed, the next day I had called my therapist, and she told her what happened. And the next day she took me off of the anxiety medicine because that medicine, one of the side effects is high blood glucose.
mhm.
So she removed me. No, I didn't get off of the depression medicine and the diabetes medicine until 11 months. So I was
Okay,
on it
gotcha.
11 months. Yeah.
Which
So
is so crazy. I mean, you're on it for what, more than 20 years, and then
yes.
11 months worth
Yes.
of walking and nutrition improvement, and you're off both.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about that. How did that end up happening?
The other thing I did besides changing the eating pattern was I started making sure that I walked every single day, 7 days a week. So when people, say, oh yeah, 3 days a week, have a rest day. No. Every day, at least a half an hour, unless I was sick or something, but
Mhm.
and still to this day, 7 days a week without fail, at least half hour or 2 miles.
Mhm.
And that, consisted of walking outdoors or indoors.
Okay. On a treadmill or
DVDs.
something like that.
No, walking DVDs, like Walk at Home.
Oh, okay.
Leslie Sansone, I love her.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
That helped with the blood glucose, that helped with the weight loss, but it also helped me here too.
Yeah, mentally. Yep.
Because mentally, the more, when you exercise, the endorphins kick in,
Yep.
serotonin levels increase, and it all kind of worked together. I started seeing clearly. The fog was lifted. I felt good,
Interesting.
energy, slept better, the whole thing.
Yeah. A
Yes.
total holistic improvement.
Yes.
So, okay, so you are now either walking outside, and you live in New Hampshire, right? So I'm
Yes.
assuming that the winters get a little blistery there.
Yes.
So in the winter time, is that when you would be inside doing the DVDs that you're talking about, the walking DVDs?
Yes. Yes.
And I love that, because so many times people feel like, well, if I don't have a treadmill, or if I don't have a bike, or if I'm not going 1,000 miles an hour, it's not good enough. Doing this walking DVD, I love this. What is that exactly? Is it like walk in place with some movement, or?
Maybe people have heard of her. Leslie Sansone has been around since the 80s, and she does Walk at Home. And if you can find it on Instagram and Facebook, she has hundreds of DVDs this woman has put out over the years. I mean, hundreds. She's amazing. And all it is walking in place, or side steps or kicks or things like that, jogging in place. Sometimes you can use weights. You don't have to use weights. Bands it's at a pace, a musical pace that you keep up with.
Okay.
And if you keep up with the pace, you do get fit, and you don't even have to do like all the intricate steps. You can just walk in place.
Right.
And it's, I had used her DVDs, VHS tapes since 98, but it was off and on. But now I've got a ton of her DVDs, they sent me a bunch of DVDs. They sent me some bands. They're so sweet over there. They're out of Pennsylvania. Look them up. They're great. They're amazing. So that's what I use. It's so easy. And then in the summer and spring and fall, it is beautiful around here. And I live on the seacoast, and I walk the ocean, the ocean, and I hike.
Nice.
I do all that stuff. I do all that stuff too. But the DVDs inside kind of keep you grounded and steady and keeps you going.
Yeah. Consistent.
Consistent.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's really a key here, because you made the comment of, well, 3 times a week you work out, or you have to have the rest day. And I find that a lot of times, at least this isn't from my experience, but when I create a schedule for myself where it's like, oh, 3 days on or 4 days on, and everything else is rest. A lot of times it's a mental game. And then I feel like those 3 days, I have to go so hard. And it's so intense in either direction. It's either total rest or totally going way too hard. And it's not maintainable. You can't maintain it. And so I love that you're saying ease it down. It doesn't have to be crazy, but do it consistently. And that really does seem to actually make quite a bit of sense when you think about human beings just in a very basic level. Go out and move your body every day. Okay. Yeah, sure. That makes sense. Doesn't have to be run a marathon every day.
In fact, I tell people, if you've never exercised ever before, you start out walking 5 minutes a day.
Right.
5 minutes. Just go up and down your street.
Yes.
And then do that for a week. And then if you feel better, add a couple minutes. Add 5 more minutes. Make it 10 minutes.
Right.
It's baby steps.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you have to do an hour-long boot camp thing. It's
right.
If you've never done it before.
Right.
You start easy, and then you work your way up, and then you get stronger, and it makes you happy. And I'm like, oh, look what I did. And
yes.
that's how I feel it. But it's got to be 7 days a week. I don't believe in the rest thing, because I know me. If I took the day off to rest, my mind would be going, I should be working on. And then the next day I'd be like, I don't feel like it. I can do it again tomorrow.
Yes, totally. I am right there with you, Donna. I agree. And I'm a very motivated person. I'm a self-starter. And even for me, I have thoughts like that. Or I think, oh, I rested today. Now tomorrow I'm not going to be as strong. And if I don't have as good of a workout, screw it all. I just burn it down. I'm not going to do this anymore then. I've failed already. And
all or nothing. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's this all or nothing mentality. And I don't know where we get this from. It's got to be somehow societally related.
It is.
But yeah, I've actually the last 70 days, because I'm on day 70, I've worked out every single day. Mm-hmm. And I've done inside workouts and outside workouts every day. So 2 workouts a day, and every day you have to go out for 45 minutes. It's a part of a program, but it's so interesting because I've always been taught you have to have rest days. And within this program, not only am I not having rest days, I'm doing doubles every day. And I have to tell you, I have not been sore, even though I run and I spin and I walk and I hike and I do all these different things. I just have been getting stronger and stronger. Now, of course, I stretch and I do mix it up. Yeah. But, you find the more consistent you are, you don't have to go at 100% every single day. You can take a day where maybe you're going 50%. You still feel good. You did it. Okay. Well, we've got tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
That's right.
Go harder tomorrow.
Here I am at 54, going to be 55 in 2 weeks. And this is the best shape I've been in my life. I mean,
it's amazing.
And that's what you've heard. I've heard in the 50s, postmenopausal, you'll never lose weight. What are you, crazy? It's all downhill from here. No, it's the best. I'm the best I've been my whole life. So there you go. I mean, there are all these myths. They just don't make any sense.
And they're total limiting belief systems.
They are limiting beliefs.
They really are. They are, especially exactly what you just said. It's, you're in your 30s now. Oh, you've had kids. Oh, now you're about to have menopause. Oh, you're in your 50s. Oh, you're in your 60s. There is always something that is being spewed to us, whether you're a man or you're a woman. It doesn't actually make a difference. Nope. There's always something. Oh, you're in your 40s now. It's all downhill from here.
All downhill from here. Yeah.
We've all heard that. Actually, Donna's here to tell us it is not all downhill from here.
No, it is uphill. It's all uphill.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you walk every day. You don't take a rest day. You're consistent with your nutrition. You're starting to feel good. It's almost a year later. It's 11 months later. Tell us, where were you in your journey for you to be taken off the medicine for not only diabetes, but also depression? That really is fascinating to me. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So it was March 2019. So that was my appointment, my 3, you had to go every 3 months, get your A1C checked and all that. And it was my time. And I had been, I keep track of my blood glucose and everything looked really good, and brought it with me to the doctor's one. Here it is, and we looked, and she did the test, and my blood glucose, my A1C was 5.4. I mean,
Wow.
and 5.7 is no diabetes or lower, 5.4. She goes, you don't? She goes, congratulations, you're off.
That is so great.
I cried. You want to hear joy? I mean, there's been a few times in my life where I felt real joy, like real joy. That's one of them, children, marriage, this. It was joy that, I don't know, can never take away. It was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you give me chills just hearing you talk about it. It's palatable. It really is. I can feel it off of you.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I really can.
And then, the only thing was she said, okay, now you're off the meds now. So you might find your blood glucose might go up a little.
Oh, okay.
Now your body's got to adjust, because you're not on meds now. So you have to really make sure you stick to your diet, you stick to your exercise. Well, I lost more weight.
Wow.
And my A1C has now been a consistent 5. And now my total weight loss is 192 pounds.
Oh my God. Oh, I love that. I mean, it's not about the weight loss. It's obviously about your general health, but that's huge. I mean, you lost a person and then
lost
some.
A man.
You lost a man that you were carrying around with yourself. I mean, that is physically exhausting.
It is. Yes.
Physically exhausting. I mean, I think one of the worst things we can do to ourselves truly is when we take the trauma and we pack it on. And a lot of times we pack our trauma on with fat. We think, okay, well, this will make us feel better. And, you talked about bullying too. I think it's one of the easiest things to look at someone and say, oh, wow, that person's fat. And that's such an easy thing to feel alienated when you're fat, to feel less than. And every single person can see it just by looking at you.
Yeah. Right. You can't hide it.
Right.
But in my case, bullying with your peers. Okay. Hurtful. Yes. Hurtful. Bullying from a parent, siblings, that's a level that nobody should experience because they should love you unconditionally. Right. Yeah. So you pack it on for, I don't want anybody to see this. I don't want anybody to see me. It's my fortress. But the bigger you get, it's counterintuitive. The more bigger you get, the more you are seen. I mean, but you're not seen for who you really are. But
right. And then in fact, people are seeing your shame is really what it is. It's almost like I might as well just hibernate in my house because it's all of this is shame.
That's right.
You talked a little bit about earlier, and I can relate to what you're saying, not specifically to my own mother, but, you said, oh my gosh, I knew I had to lose at least this amount because if I showed up for the holidays and I looked like that, I would be getting the eyeballs over me. I mean, that's not even words. That's a perception of just how someone's viewing you.
Yeah.
And think about how huge that is for us. So, I was a very, very heavy child. I don't think I was ever diagnosed as obese, but I certainly was obese. And I just remember having thoughts back to very uncomfortable things that now I don't even think twice about because I'm not obese anymore. But during such a pivotal growth period of your life, when, your self-esteem is being formed and things like I couldn't go into Gap, the cool place to buy jeans at the time, find a pair of jeans that fit. They didn't have stretch in the jeans back then either.
Yeah, they didn't.
Thank God for stretch in jeans. But I mean, I just remember the amount of anxiety that I would feel going into those changing rooms and being, pray to God a pair of pants fits. How awful that is.
Oh, it's awful.
You think about the fact that, oh my gosh, I can't even fit into normal human clothes. They don't make clothes for me.
Mm-hmm. There's your self-worth right there.
Oh, out the window.
It's gone. Bye.
Totally out the window. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Or even something as small as like crossing my legs. Couldn't do that. And you think about some of these things and it makes you feel almost like inhuman. Like I couldn't relate or assimilate or be a part of how everyone else just existed. Everything was harder.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything felt uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Just, couldn't relate to people. Inhuman? Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
That's some of the negative stuff, but would you say there was anything positive that's come out? Well, there's a lot of positive, but
No.
specifically, could you tell us about some of the positive things that's come out of this experience for you? Because this is a huge experience, a huge life experience.
Yeah, well, I definitely, I say this over and over again, type 2 diabetes was a gift because it made me realize that I am stronger than I thought. I have the strength that I didn't think I had. And I fought it. I no longer have depression. I no longer have an eating disorder. As long as I stick with my program, which I will for life, I'm free. I'm free.
Yeah.
I'm free. And I'm like I said, I found a strength I didn't think I had.
And honestly, what an inspiration you are. I think a lot of times we can hear people say to us, convention says that once you have type 2 diabetes, you're going to be on medicine and good luck. Your life expectancy might be X, Y, or Z. Mm-hmm. And, people say those types of things, but what they really are doing is creating a belief or another categorization of who you are. For you to have fought against that, God, that you had the support that you did with the doctor saying, I'm going to get you off the medicine, giving you hope there, a good nutritionist, like those are gifts in and of itself. But the fact of the matter is you had the grit, you put the work in, you believed in yourself, and you made the decision and chose to have that mindset of, I am going to do this 7 days a week for the rest of my life. This is who I am now. This is how I breathe. This is how I live. And you are proof in the pudding, Donna, that you don't have to be on diabetes medication. You don't have to be on depression medication for the rest of your life. You can lose the weight. You can reclaim that beautiful light inside of yourself. You can show up to shine. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
You can show up to shine. For a lot of our listeners, the whole essence of the show, as you know, is how do we show up to shine in our life, especially when we go through hard times and especially when we are at some of the hardest times in our life. Can you give our listeners some advice? It's easier when you're on the other side of things and being like, yeah, I've lost all the weight. I'm off the medicine. I'm feeling great. But if you could go back to the day or even before you were diagnosed and give yourself some advice or some motivation or some hope or encouragement, what would you say?
Okay, a couple things. First of all, I have to say, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist, but I will say this. Sugar is a drug. Please get off of sugar. Nobody needs it. I don't care if you're at your perfect weight. I don't care if you don't have any diseases. Take the sugar out of your body. It's toxic. It's as addictive as heroin. Get out of it. No, you don't need sugar in your life. That's number one. Number two, baby steps. And 5 minutes a day. Just 5 minutes a day, go for a little walk. You do not have to do a marathon your first time around exercising. If you are sedentary, and if you've never exercised a day in your life, get a nice pair of sneakers, be comfortable, get outside and walk. If you don't want to go, if you're too embarrassed to go outside and walk up and down your stairs for 5 minutes. It's consistency. Start out small, build yourself up, build your strength. As you build your strength, you build your confidence. As you build your confidence, you'll want to do more. Then you'll see results, and then you'll go, wow, this is great. Not only do I feel better, I'm sleeping better. Gee, I'm making a little bit healthier choices in my eating. Gee, I lost a couple of pounds. Stuff like that. Huge. And the third thing is journaling. Start journaling every day, a little bit. Today, I feel pretty good. Gee, today I don't have any aches and pains. Gee, the sun is shining. This is nice. When you start journaling, you start seeing your progress too. I also recommend meditation. It saved me. Meditation is amazing. It gets you in touch with yourself. It calms your mind, quiets it down. I recommend meditation a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I mean, I do self-Reiki on myself, but those are the things I really recommend. You got to start out small and get rid of the sugar because you don't need it. You just don't need it.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. I think the baby steps, the consistency, that's such a great point of recommendation. And that's for anything in life. If you're going to start to go up a mountain, you don't transverse the mountain with one step. I mean, it takes many, many steps and it takes time. So I love that. I love the journaling idea too, because progress is absolutely a way that you can sometimes you get lost in the fact that you're making progress because every day can kind of blend together.
Yeah.
And if you don't journal like what you're saying and you look back and reflect on it, you might totally lose that. Oh my gosh, Jackie, what are you thinking? You're about to give up and you've already lost 25 pounds and you're feeling better. What?
Right.
Don't just give up. Oh yeah. Okay. And I actually have to do that for myself. Now I don't journal and write like journal entries. I use an app called MyFitnessPal. And so I put in, my weight and, pictures and things like that. So I literally can look through and say, oh yeah, okay, calm yourself. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you can do any way you'd like to just track your progress. 100%. I mean, I just used one of those black and white composition notebooks.
Oh yes, sure.
For $1. I just use that.
Sure.
Any way you want. That's really what I recommend. I know probably the sugar part is probably the most controversial, but there's nothing else I can say except
cut the sugar.
Cut it out.
So you mentioned you're a Reiki practitioner. Do you offer Reiki to people? Is that a part of your service offering?
Yes, I do. So Reiki also has been a tool in my toolbox to help me heal as well. For the main reason is the diabetes medication that I was on, it did trigger irritable bowel syndrome. That's a common side effect, but it was severe to the point where I couldn't leave my house.
Oh, no.
I didn't know where a bathroom was, and it would let go at any minute in person. It was horrible.
Oh, that's awful.
It was awful. And because now I'm off all meds, I don't want to go to a doctor and say, put me on meds to get rid of this irritable bowel syndrome. What do I do? So I'm looking for all these holistic ways to fix. So my brother is a Reiki practitioner, and he is a guitarist, and he hurt his hand to the point where he couldn't play. And that's his passion. He's been playing guitar since he was a young man. He got attuned to Reiki and started doing self Reiki, and it healed his hand. And he told me about it, and I said, well, it's good enough for me. So I sought out a Reiki master in my hometown. I got attuned to level 1, which is self-healing Reiki. In 4 months, it was 95% gone. I got so passionate about it, could see the results, that I became level 2. So now I practice for others.
Yeah.
I love it. It's another gift that I've gotten in this journey. There's a new telehealth company that I'm working with. I'm going to be a Reiki practitioner for the diabetes community.
Oh, that's
Talk about two passions coming together.
Yes.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear. So I'm a Reiki master teacher myself, and it's so hard for a lot of people to understand what is Reiki.
Yeah.
Can you tell people, Donna, from your perspective, what is Reiki and what have you been attuned to? Which type of Reiki?
Okay. Well, I have been attuned to Usui Tibetan Enhanced, which is more of the traditional Japanese based, and Holy Fire 3, which is kind of a newer incarnation of Reiki, more subtle, more gentle, but very powerful. And so I'm an Usui Tibetan Enhanced and Holy Fire 3 Reiki practitioner. What Reiki is, it is universal life force energy. So Reiki has been around for centuries. It is a Japanese holistic technique in which the practitioner is a channeler. The practitioner is attuned to this energy. It's almost like turning on a radio and tuning in to a radio station. The practitioner is actually attuned to this life force energy. The energy goes through the practitioner, through the hands, onto the client. You can do it in person or you can do it remotely. And I can do it remotely. It is more my specialty because since we are all energetically connected, Reiki can go anywhere. It's just energy. So what happens is the energy goes through my hands to the client, the recipient. The recipient takes that energy and uses it in its own body to do their own healing. The person who receives the Reiki takes the Reiki and heals himself. Reiki will only go so far. It will definitely help with physical, but I feel that you kind of have to set the intention when you're in a session to allow it to go deeper, and it will heal in layers. So it will heal physically, mentally, emotionally. It will get to the root cause of issues. It's very intelligent. It knows where it goes. You don't even have to believe in Reiki for it to work. It promotes relaxation. It alleviates pain. It alleviates depression, anxiety. It promotes healthy sleep. And these are the things that really compound, especially chronic illness. Because if you don't sleep right, if you do have underlying mental health issues, a lot of the helplessness and the hopelessness that feeds the disease, feeds it, makes it worse. Reiki really helps. It really helps alleviate that, regulate your body. At the very least, you come out of it just so calm and relaxed. But it really can do so much more. And for me, it started physically, it helped my IBS, but now it's really gotten to the root cause of issues, and it's the unworthiness and self-love and all of that. So it's an ongoing thing forever and ever, but it's an amazing holistic tool that I really hope that it will become more and more mainstream, I guess. I know before the pandemic, hospitals were using it, especially in like hospice situations. I hope they keep doing it. But after the pandemic, of course, people had to leave and they wouldn't allow them. But I think it'll start up again. It's been great, like pediatric dentistry for, like children who are getting ready to have surgery. That's a new thing happening. Reiki practitioners will come in and relax them. And then post-surgery, doulas, pregnancy, birth.
Yeah.
And I work with one lady who has just gotten over colon cancer, and she's in her 90s and she's dealing with some grief, and I'm helping her, and it's just,
that's lovely.
It's wonderful. So
Yeah.
if you ever have a chance to give it a try, you'll love it. So
yeah, Reiki is a wonderful healing modality, energetic healing modality. And it's kind of amazing to hear your story and how it's progressed, because without all of the sorrow and all of the hurt and all of the disease within your body, you wouldn't have learned to overcome it. You wouldn't have learned the tools of how to do it in a healthy way. And now you are using that knowledge and experience and helping other people and healing other people. That is a complete turn of events.
And you can't really help heal others unless you heal yourself, right?
That's so true.
True. And you don't know light until you experience the darkness.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is. Well, it's I think some of the best healers and doctors and coaches and all of the above, therapists, nutritionists, are people that have empathy because they've experienced it themselves, or they have experience in general with something. So it's not just, well, I read a textbook and I think that this could work. It's no, I've been to those dark places myself. I've felt those demons, and I chose the light. I chose to shine. And I just am really so pleased to hear that you fought these sort of conventional limiting beliefs and created a path for yourself, and now are helping other people that are experiencing similar things. And I just think that's so powerful, Donna. And really, I hope you continue along doing that. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you. Hope so.
Yes. I think you will. I'm sure you're helping a lot of people. So for those people that are listening, I will put in the description notes, of course, where they can find you, but can you tell everyone where they can find you if they are interested in maybe having a Reiki session with you, or if they know someone that has diabetes and could use some help? How can they get a hold of you?
The telehealth company that I'm going to be working with is DiaStrong Health. So DiaStrongHealth.com. So I'm the Reiki practitioner, but they also have on there nutritionists, fitness trainers, certified diabetes educators, and it's the providers are expanding. It's new, really one of the only telehealth companies out there now that are specifically designed for the diabetic community. So that's a really great place for you to look at. As far as me, if you go link.tree/Donna E. Cross, I have all my links. on there. It's the easiest way to say it. So I'll have my website, Google, Diet Strong. I also have my blog, if you'd like to read my blog, podcast. I did an interview for Exeter TV. So all my things are on that link tree. So that would probably be the easiest thing. If you want to book an appointment, you can book an appointment there too.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Donna, any final words for our listeners? Any final points of recommendation or thoughts?
Baby steps and no sugar.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Baby steps and no sugar, everyone. Good thing we didn't record this before Christmas time, because people would be like, I don't think so, Donna. I got Christmas cookies to eat.
I grew up in a, Italian family, and the whole thing was based on food. You're right. But my immediate family now, they're very supportive. I guess I'm very blessed because in my case, they know what I've been through, and you only control what you put in your own mouth.
Yeah, that's so true.
They're not forcing it down your throat.
Yeah.
So be strong, have conviction, and choose. Make good choices. What I'm trying to say is you don't want to get to my point. You don't want to get to the point where you're about to die to make a choice. You don't want to get there. You start making healthier choices today. That's all I can really say about that. I don't worry about the holidays anymore. I mean, have your cake. I don't care.
Right. Maybe it's baby steps there too, right? It's
of
all
course.
moderation. So instead of eating 4 pieces of cake, have a half a piece of cake. That's better than 4. So
you know what? You're right.
Progress.
But baby steps for there too.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. It's the balance, it's moderation part of it. Yes.
Yeah.
My case, I'm just very strict. So
sure. And you had to be. You absolutely had to be.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's the other thing. I think sometimes people have that feeling of, oh my gosh, if I can never have it again, then I just want to eat it all. And again, it's that all or nothing mentality. So I think your baby steps is perfect. And I think it can apply to both.
Yes, I think you're right.
Did you notice anything else that happened to your body as you were losing the weight and managing your glucose, aside from obviously weight loss and, your mental fog lifting? Did you notice any other physically changed aspects of your body?
Yes. The numbness and feeling of my toes, that went away.
Oh, it did. Okay.
Yeah. I had, sudden blindness in my left eye. It did leave a scar, but it healed. So I have no worry. Yep. Incontinence gone. What else? Okay. This is silly and you may not believe me, but literally my hair did not stopped going gray fast.
I believe it.
Kind of weird, but yeah. I did notice my skin, especially after I started with the Reiki treatments, my skin took on a glow.
Interesting.
Kind of neat.
Yeah.
What else? Just sleeping better. I think that's about,
so is it fair to say that all of the bad symptoms that you were having related to the diabetes are gone?
Yeah. Yes.
They're all gone.
They're gone. Yep.
Everything's gone. Everything's healed.
Gone. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, but it's really good. And it's just a good reminder to, instead of getting caught up in all of these pills and prescriptions and all of this extra stuff, just go back to the basics. Go out in nature. Go to universal energy like Reiki or IET, eat natural foods, sleep, move your body.
Right.
Do
what you were supposed to be, when you
right.
This is what you're born with. You're born to move, you're born to eat. Everything on this earth will take care of you.
Yes.
You don't
totally agree.
Am I right?
I always like to remind myself when I am craving something, I think of myself like a car. And then I say, okay, is this premium gas or is this like the total cheapest crap that I'm buying and putting into the car and thinking I want it to run like a Mustang?
Yeah. Right.
Listen, moderation. Can't be perfect all the time, Donna.
No, I know.
Listen, Donna, this has been such a pleasant conversation. You are so inspiring. I hope everyone is feeling the same way I am, which to just remember you're in control of your own destiny and you don't have to believe in the nonsense people prescribe to you. And you don't have to be prescribed the pills anyway. Eat naturally, connect to the earth, move your body, get some good Reiki in your life. Good. Baby steps. I love it. Right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much again, Donna, for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
It was fun. Thank you.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment so we can do the best podcast for you.